ladies and gentlemen, our second professional fight of the evening will be a welterweight bout, 3 rounds of 5 minutes, refereed by Daniel Sharifi. Fighting out of the red corner, standing at 182 centimeters, weighing in at 77 kilos, and representing the Netherlands here tonight, it's Tayron Agtereek Chavarro! And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, standing at 179 centimeters tall and weighing in at 77 kilos, representing Poland, it's Mateusz Łukien czuk!
So we are set here for 3 5-minute rounds. Chavarro has the mustache and Łukien has the beard. Any thoughts on facial hair and MMA, Robin?
You know, sometimes those big puffy beards actually, in theory, can protect you. You can also rough up your opponent. All these little elements can matter. But we did see so off the caught kick, Chavarro just whipped out the right knuckles.
So Chavarro looks like he's trying to hold the center of the ring here. What does that mean? It's very back and forth at the minute, Robin. What are we thinking?
So Chavarro pushed forward, and then Mateusz backing up a little bit. If you're Mateusz, you want to be striking and trying to, I mean, it's a tough assignment for Mateusz no matter what. I like that idea, kicking from the outside. You've got a guy in front of you who's a jiu-jitsu black belt, is a judo player, and is striking his way in right now.
So you can see there, what does it mean that he's got that body lock so fast?
So that was 4 points that we saw. And people who come up wrestling know 4 points, 2 hands, 2 feet, or knees, something on the ground. And that position with a free hand for Chavarro, anytime you can, that was wide open there. Anytime you can control part of someone's body and use your head or your chin or your arm or your shoulder and keep a fist free, you can do damage, and that instinct is there for Chavarro.
So we saw another Superman punch to enter a clinch there, Robin. 2 in this card. Does it mean it's coming back?
Yeah, you don't see it too often because it feels predictable when people do it in the gym that they don't even want to throw it because you know your training partners are well aware of it. But we did see it tonight.
Your fellow countryman, GSP, used to be a fan of that.
Yeah, George throws him in different ways. Anthony Pettis knocked out Stephen Wonderboy Thompson with a modified Superman punch. You know, like, things do come back. Just because they go away for a few years, they become predictable. If people train them less, they're less familiar, they're unpredictable again.
We have 2 minutes gone in this round. Mateusz with the beard and the blue around his gloves. Chavarro with the mustache and the red tape around his gloves. Robin, reasonably equal fight so far?
So Mateusz is getting comfortable, and I wonder if Chavarro wants that. Do you know what I mean? Like, coming out here and chilling and letting it kind of unfold, sometimes that's a great advantage because your opponent gets too comfortable and then you strike them. But you know, Chavarro, Andy talked about his jiu-jitsu and his judo, he actually seems very motivated to take it down.
Well, actually, to touch upon that now, Mateusz, he's no joke on the ground either. Although he might only be a blue belt, he's trained the majority of his mixed martial arts career no-gi. So, and his very first MMA fight, he actually won by a triangle.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we talked about that early tonight, like, quote, striker versus grappler. That's narrative. That's not real fighting, right? Like, that's things people in suits say on lit desks of television programs. In real fighting...
Yeah, is that not what we're doing right here?
Yes, that is what we're doing. But if you're being truthful, you've got a guy who's a judo... everybody heard that. He got some real wood on that. You know?
So I assume we'll have a few minutes to recover from this until he's get ready to go.
That is for sure.
Robin, how does it feel? Obviously, we all know, well, not all of us, but a lot of us know how a strike like that feels. But the pressure of having to rush back, how do you manage this?
So everything affects both of you. And that includes when I get heated in the groin, the time affects him, the break affects him, the distraction, the disengagement. Of course it affects the guy who just got hit in the beans worse, right? Because he's experiencing all of that, plus he got hit. But I like the way he wanted to continue, stay in flow, and get back to work. You know, you might have thought coming in here based on physiques or experience or some of the stats that Andy's shared with us that Mateusz might be a big underdog, but he's really looking good.
Exactly, exactly.
He's focused. You see him fully psychologically, mentally engaged here. Focus is something that you deploy in different ways. And he's hyper-focused in on the center of mass, which is what you want to be doing. He's responding as Chavarro moves forward and backward quite well and quite naturally. See, the little bounce in. And then he strikes to the chest to come in. Well, but here that's going to be an error, and that's a blue belt error against a black belt. He was doing very, very well. But when he ended up in that moment on top, the sophisticated relationship between both of them, doesn't matter if you're on top or on the bottom. When we decide we're going to fully engage in a grappling contest, it is going to be dominated by the man with more experience. And now moving to the mount position, and in fact, purposefully keeping his shin inside until he settles.
How dangerous is this for Mateusz right now?
Yeah, so think about this when we simplify what a mount is. Chavarro has all of his body, and he is segmented in half Mateusz's body. So Mateusz has only 2 arms to defend and 2 feet to kick off, but he has segmented him. And Mateusz is trying to climb, but you look how comfortable Chavarro is, and he'll attack the armbar, and he has it. And there's a hyperextension.
Wow.
That was sick.
Wow, that was some high-level ground game. As soon as he got to side control there, Robin.
Yep. That was sick. You saw the moment where he's just pulled the wrist up to his own chest, and he just had so many different spaces he could choose from. I hope we do get to see a replay of that because it was really elegant. It went from, being in a top position. Okay, so at this point he already has the arm bar, right? He was on top, so you can see the arm being hyperextended. But when he was on top, he's starting from a mount position, and then here I think we'll see the sequence of the takedown. So you see a punch to the sternum, down on top. This sequence now, you're already engaged and tangled, and you've got the bottom, and you turn, and you choose the neck here because you are, it's slowly changing. He ends up on top, moves to the mount, and when he does, it will be a slow sequence until he corrals the arm and hyperextends it. It's a really, really wonderful sequence of movements here by the man who did show that he was the more experienced player when it came to a close, control game in jiu-jitsu.
And we are heading over to the announcement of the winner now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has called an end to the contest in the 5th minute of the first round, declaring a victor by tap out from the red corner, Tayron Agtereek Chavarro!